Delighted to say we've got the line back to Kinsey. And Kinsey, now you can hear me, which is probably a mixed blessing. A new documentary about Diana and perhaps some secrets revealed.
That's right. Dr. James Colthurst, who was a dear friend to Diana, and the go-between between Princess Diana and Andrew Morton, when Andrew Morton wrote Diana, Her True Story, has an additional 6 hours of tapes that have never been heard before. And so he's partnering with Tom Jennings, who's an Emmy, I believe he's an Emmy-winning American filmmaker. They're going to create a new documentary about Princess Diana, where she really delves into some of the relationships with her family members, her stepmother, Rain, who, you know, famously they called Acid Rain when they were growing up, but she became best friends with her. And Jennings is also going to create a documentary about King Charles. He thinks that King Charles is going to radically change the monarchy, and actually predicts that he wouldn't be surprised if in 5 years you see the king giving a political speech, which I know you have opinions about, Mark.
Meanwhile, Kinsey, Donald Trump is back. Let's take a listen.
If I weren't running, I would have nobody coming after me. Or if I was losing by a lot, I would have nobody coming after me. And together we will crush crooked Joe Biden, the most crooked president in the history of our country by far, and also grossly incompetent, doesn't know what he's doing. He's destroying our country. We will win the election big, and we will make America great again. Thank you.
Kinsey, this is a man who thinks he can win.
He thinks he could win. And Mark, I mean, if he does win, he could pardon himself. So this is, you know, I mean, there's a lot on the line here. So I'm sure that he'd like to win so that all of this could go away. But you're absolutely right. He says that he wouldn't be getting this negative attention and persecution if it weren't for how high his poll numbers are and how popular he is. And so, yeah, I mean, there are experts out there that say, yes, he could still run. The Constitution, there's no rules about not, you know, being convicted of any sort of crime, not being able to run. He could run, he could win, and he could pardon himself. What a chapter in the history books.
Now, I'm a big fan of JFK Jr., John F. Kennedy Jr., who is Bobby Kennedy's son. This is a guy that wants to win the nomination to run for president for the Democrats, therefore a rival to Joe Biden. He's a man of principle. He's a top lawyer. He has railed against vaccine tyranny during the pandemic. But he's got a problem. Tell me more.
That's right. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is surprisingly becoming very popular in the polling. I believe he was up 20% last time I checked, has claimed that the Biden administration is not giving him the Secret Service protection that has been in place since 1968 when his father was assassinated. Now, the Biden administration says that they've determined that Secret Service protection for him is not warranted at this time, despite a 67-page report that they provided to them, showing them threats, showing them some of their security concerns. And as a taxpayer, Mark, I'd much rather throw my money behind security protecting Robert Kennedy Jr. versus Hunter Biden.
Well, indeed, what a legend he is. He speaks with so much authority, Robert Kennedy Jr., and I think he'd make an amazing president. But we can but dream, can't we? Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, continues to bring more embarrassment to the White House.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure you were aware of this sweetheart deal that collapsed last week. It really kind of took us all by surprise. It was supposed to be a 5-minute courtroom appearance. It turned into 3 hours, where the judge looked at this, outline and said, unlimited immunity in perpetuity. That doesn't make much sense. So basically, Hunter, if they discovered that Hunter was guilty of something down the line, Mark, this deal would have protected him. And the judge said, this doesn't look like anything I've ever had on my desk before. I just can't justify this. So Hunter sent home packing, told he has to get a job, take regular drug tests, can't drink, can't get into any trouble. And he's really quite hostile over this deal falling apart. And then, he jumps on a private jet, comes back over to Los Angeles, where we find out his attorney, Kevin Morris, is paying for this documentary, this redemption story on Hunter. So, more and more embarrassment for the Biden family when it comes to Hunter Biden.
He's what we would call in this country a wrong 'un, which is far from what you are, Kinsey. We'll see you in a week's time.